Hi everyone. We all know that owning an ex-racing greyhound is an amazing experience. Life is filled with joy and happiness as their personality blossoms as they grow into their new life in a home. But is that the full story? Could there be a tinge of frustration creeping into that warm glow that comes from being a greyhound guardian? Let's find out. We wouldn't be human if we didn't get a bit irritated now and then, especially if we're under pressure in other ways and wish things could just run smoothly for a change. I have to say, as a mom to 5 greyhounds, that exasperation does surface now and then. Perhaps with just one, it would be less of an issue. With 5, some days it can feel like you're wading through treacle in an effort to get everything done with your sanity intact. And I thought I'd share my key frustrations with you. So where shall we start? Mr. Flapper, where shall we start? One thing that can quickly become frustrating is when I need to get things done and they loiter in the way. I have a galley kitchen and it can literally be impossible to get from one end to the other because it's basically full of dog. We have to resort to passing things to each other over the dogs because that's easier than getting through or getting them to move. They do have this amazing habit of following you as you walk down the kitchen, and then you pick something up, turn around to go back, and immediately nearly fall over the dog that is right behind you, stepping on your heels. They have actually had me over a few times because they've followed so closely that they've stepped in the back of my shoes, and I've tried to move forward, and of course nothing happens, and I've gone splat on the floor. I thought at first this was related to having several large dogs in a small house, but Gandalf is quite capable of creating a total logjam all on his own. When he stands side on, he blocks the kitchen completely and becomes an immovable object, so your only option is to step over him. And of course, this is in the spot where Floppy likes to lay down, so again, you have to step over him. Of course, if you do that, he moves just at the moment you've reached the point of no return. And if that happens, you have to go splat again or be very good at getting out of a dodgy situation very quickly. They're also good at creating a rolling roadblock. They seem to like to lead from the front. So whichever way you decide you're going, they're going to walk in front of you. And despite being an extremely fast animal on the track, when it comes to walking in front of you, they are amazingly slow. I guess they don't really know which way you're going, but they want to walk in front and they keep stopping and looking round. And it's like, please hurry up. I just want to get through there and get my coat. Another thing that can get a little bit frustrating is sorting out beds. And this does relate to having more dogs because I spend a lot of time each day tidying beds. If I had fewer dogs and fewer beds, this wouldn't be such a job. I smooth them out, I arrange the blanket, and then sometimes the dog comes to sit on it and promptly digs it into a big heap. They arrange it to their satisfaction and maybe they lie down, but other times they just fail miserably to get it right and they create this huge pile of bedding and then look at me and sigh in disgust because they've failed totally to get it organised and I have to sort it out. And that leads me to my next point, which is the endless stream of requests to fix things for them. So in the case of the dug bed, I have to go and make it again and then they can sit down. Or maybe not, they might dig it. But if they hadn't dug it in the first place, for some reason that was important to them that it needed digging, then I wouldn't have had to make it, would I? Other things I have to fix are balls that have gone into corners or under furniture. I have to find the correct ball for Gandalf because only a certain ball will do. I have to move dogs when the last dog standing doesn't like the remaining beds and can't possibly sit on what's left, and so the list goes on. If things aren't right, their solution is fetch the human to come and fix it. I used to refer to one of my last dogs as the abracadabra dog because he would stand outside the back door waiting to come in. And Floppy here tends to do this as well. And as if by magic, that door would at some point open. Now, if he hadn't seen me on the other side of it, then as far as he was concerned, if he stood and looked at the door, it was going to open. And it always did. So his learning was, if I stand here and look at the door, it's going to open. And it did, as if by magic. Related to these problems around beds are indecision, incessant indecision. You want to go in the front room? Fine, off you go. Oh, 30 seconds later, you don't want to go in the front room. Why did you go in then? Well, you opened the gate, so I went in. Doesn't work. They seem to humour you by going where you suggest they go, which is based on where you think they want to go. But of course, they only go because you offer. And so we get in this real muddle of indecision. Perhaps they indicate they want to go outside, and then they stand around in the doorway while a cold draft blows in and the cogs in their brain slowly tick round before finally settling on going back in the other room. So that doesn't work either. Or if they do go out, I have to follow, sometimes because I need to go out, but other times just because they want me to come with them and they can't possibly do it on their own. And sometimes because they bark when they go out on their own. Yes, there is that too. So, perfect timing. This is another one. Meggie and Gandalf in particular have developed the most amazing perfect timing about when it comes to wanting to do stuff in relation to what I'm doing. It happens within moments of sitting down to eat or have a cup of tea. They might appear to be fast asleep in the front room, and I sit down and think, oh, finally, I get to have a sit down, and promptly there's a dog that wants to go out. Maybe they just want to go and squeak, or maybe they want to do some business. Maybe they just want to sniff or smell the air or eat some soil. In Maggie's case, they've had hours when they could have done that, but they wait until I want to sit down before they do it. Also related to timing is their knack for needing to go out in the wee hours. Do they want to toilet at bedtime? Hopefully, yes. And we all go out before bedtime and then finish the rest of our routine. I get upstairs, I pick up my toothbrush, and before I can do anything else, there's often a bit of a squeak and I have to go back downstairs, usually because Maggie has decided that she does want to go out after all. So I have to reverse the routine, get her out, get her past Gandalf, get her back in the kitchen and let her out. And hopefully she will do the deed this time and I get to go back to bed. However, it doesn't always work that way. And sometimes, especially if it's been raining in the evening, she doesn't want to go out and she hangs on and she hangs on. And it gets somewhere between probably 2 and 4 in the morning before I'm summoned down to let her out. So off she dashes. She comes bouncing back in, slightly damp, having had her wee or her poo, goes back to bed and is fast asleep in seconds. Of course, I go back upstairs and lie there wide awake, not able to go to sleep and wondering how many sheep I'm going to have to count in order to get some more sleep that night. So it's not surprising when I think about it that I do often struggle with mornings because our nights are not always that restful. Between 5 of them, there's a good chance one of them is going to do something to get me up in the night. Of course, there are always good reasons behind the behaviour, and the key is to manage it so it has less of an impact or it can't happen in the first place. Although I do struggle to keep up with them sometimes, and I think in many ways the things that frustrate me are things that tell me more about me and the state I'm in at that time. Because if I was in a better frame of mind on that day, I probably wouldn't get frustrated. So it is quite interesting and helpful, perhaps, to look at yourself if you find yourself getting frustrated with the dog, to say, what is it about what they're doing that's making me feel this way? But that's the subject for another video altogether, and probably not one by a dog behaviourist, but a human behaviourist. So I wouldn't be without them. Life would be pretty boring, even if they're frustrating. That's all for today. We'll be back again soon. Bye for now. And now we can go and have 11, says Floppy. Yes, the dribbled all down your leggy. Is it? Huh? The dribbled all down your leggy. Did it dribble down the leggy? Look out for new videos every Monday, and why not subscribe so you don't miss out?